Welcome, dear listeners, for yet another installment of Twilight Abridged. Chapter 6 begins with another attempt to make Bella not seem like such a dumb bitch. But, of course, we know better. Then, in Trig, Jessica attempted chit-chat, still making an attempt to be the bitch's friend. But, of course, Bella irritated her by trying to shut down the conversation as soon as she could, like the bitch she is. By lunch period, Bella was already bitching about Edward being absent. Lauren, who really doesn't have much of a purpose in the story, is presented as trying to make you think that her friends are turning on the bitch, when, as you may recall, Bella was the one who had ditched them. Of course, Mike tries to stick up for Bella, who, being the bitch she is, simply ignores it. Charlie and Bella had a conversation that night that hinted at some sort of foreboding, but we already know that Meyer can't stand to let anything go without emphasizing it, so it's really not important. The next morning, Bella met with her classmates before the trip to La Push, and, again, they're given a sign that her friends are noticing that she's been snubbing them all this time. Mike, being the only one who's happy to see the bitch, greeted her. But, being the bitch she is, she snubbed his enthusiasm, but agreed to ride with him to La Push anyway. He gave the bitch the shotgun seat, which ticked off Jessica, because damn if Meyer can't stand to let anyone put anyone else before her self-insertion. We're given a bit of a description of the beach that they went to, and then Mike showed her a fancy trick with fire. But it's too bad, because her clumsiness didn't kick in and spare us all the rest of the series. The group divided so that Mike and Bella were on the group going for a hike, while Lauren and Jessica would stay at the others, which means you know that there's going to be issues. After the hiking party returned, some people from a local reservation had come to hang out. After the group ate, the one named Jacob Black, who will only become a significant character at the urging of Meyer's editor, as she'd wanted the story to only focus on her precious self-insertion and the object of Meyer's wet dreams, and Bella conversed for a while. Meyer also makes an allusion to her effort to try to have Edward and Bella get married shortly after Twilight, by making certain that you knew that one of Jacob's sisters, who is hardly over a year older than her, was already married. Thank you, editor, for dragging this shit out. Anyway, they talk about her truck, then Lauren steps in, and, of course, Bella bitches about her in the prose. Lauren makes a point of mentioning the Cullens. Then Sam, one of the older boys from the group that had joined the beach trip, states that they don't come to La Push. And, again, damn if Meyer can't help but make it stand out when something is important. Turns out that Jacob is 15, about 2 years younger than Bella. Bella asks Jacob why the Cullens don't come to La Push, but when he tried to avoid the subject, she pressed it anyway. He seemed to think it was a scary story. He talks about a legend that claims his people are descended from wolves, and at this point Meyer is almost blatantly telling you that they are werewolves, as Jacob states that his ancestors were. But, for some reason, many of the fans didn't figure this out until the next book, when she really does blatantly tell you. Then Jacob says that the Cullens are their enemies, but that they have a treaty with the Quileutes, Jacob's people, so that if the Cullens stay off their territory, they won't expose the Cullens, thereby almost blatantly indicating that the Cullens are supposed to be vampires, in case you didn't already know. Sorry to ruin the surprise that was printed on the cover of the book. Jacob even tells her that the Cullens are the same ones that the Quileutes, during his great-grandfather's generation, had made a treaty with. And then Jacob literally tells her that they're vampires. Bella promises to keep Jacob's having told her a secret, but because she'd already not kept her secret to Edward to not talk to anyone about his saving her, you just know the bitch won't keep this one. Bella then flirts with Jacob, trying to ignore Mike, but Mike told her that they were getting ready to leave. and leave they did. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Twilight Abridged, brought to you by the good people at TwilightSucks.com. Twilight sucks because the level of predictability in a book shouldn't reach the point where the reader begins to question if they have psychic powers,